Have you ever considered that you might be following a voice that does not come from the divine, yet believing it does? This is perhaps one of the subtlest and most dangerous traps on the spiritual path. For hearing true guidance from above is one of the greatest blessings of the soul's journey. But mistaking that guidance for the inclinations of our own heart is one of the greatest risks along the way. Divine law teaches us that the human heart, when still tied to selfishness and pride, can become a source of deception. Often, what sounds like inspiration from on high is merely a reflection of unrefined desires, accumulated anxieties, or wounds that have not yet been healed by the light of self-awareness. That is why discerning the origin of the inner voice is essential to remain on the path of truth. The voice that comes from higher realms never brings confusion. Even when it brings correction, it is wrapped in serenity and wisdom. It uplifts, consoles, and teaches. Its presence is like a gentle breeze that guides with firmness, never forcing or disturbing. The human mind, on the other hand, when undisciplined and lacking light, shouts in moments of fear. It imposes its conclusions in times of distress. It distorts signs and disguises personal desires as divine will. That is why it is not wise to accept any thought as a whisper from above. Every inspiration must be filtered through enlightened reason and purified feeling. How often do we say, "But I feel this is right"? Yet feeling alone is no guarantee of truth. Spiritual wisdom warns us that many paths may seem right to human eyes, but they do not lead to elevation. The voice of the awakened conscience, aligned with divine law, is the surest guide, and it never contradicts the principles of charity, humility, and justice. All true guidance bears noble fruit. That which comes from the light brings peace, balance, simplicity, compassion, and obedience to good. That which is born of illusion brings restlessness, pride, impulsiveness, and resentment. If what you heard leaves you agitated, impatient, or conceited, stop. True good never imposes itself with haste or arrogance. Often we ask for answers from above, but the noise of our own restlessness prevents us from perceiving what has already been whispered in silence. The agitated mind is a veil that clouds perception. Often, what we hear is nothing more than the echo of our own thoughts. The soul in harmony with higher good recognizes the tone of the voice that teaches, for it has developed attunement through purity of feeling. Lower will seeks comfort, higher guidance seeks regeneration. The unrefined self justifies its own errors. The voice of truth reveals them so that they may be healed. True guidance touches precisely where we resist most, because it seeks to transform us. It calls us to places the ego does not want to go, because it wants us to grow. So ask yourself, does this voice lead me to self-denial or to the glorification of my own will? If you truly wish to know whether this inner voice comes from the divine, examine it with serenity, bring it before the light of truth, pray, wait, ask for signs that are accompanied by peace, and above all, be willing to follow the will of good, even when it contradicts your deepest desires. Higher intelligences do not manipulate us. They enlighten us. They speak to those who seek above all to grow in spirit and in truth. Today, the higher realms invite you to take a new posture. Silence your inner turmoil. Empty yourself of self. Ask with sincerity, "Lord, is this voice yours?" And have the humility to accept the answer, even if it reveals a mistake. For the silence that comes from above is always safer than the clamor of an ungoverned mind. And those who walk with integrity do not need to chase after answers. They come at the right time. Discernment, obedience to good, trust in divine providence. These are the pillars of the safe path. For those who let themselves be guided by the light never walk in darkness.